Hora Anunciei o Testamento, Anunciei da Minha Filha Foi bone chilling. It was a day wrapped in a blanket of uncertainty, one that would change everything for the Masterson family. As the clock struck 3, a hush settled over the room, and the air turned thick with anticipation. The large oak table was littered with a mess of papers, the will resting smugly atop an old, dusty leather-bound book. No one could have foreseen how that moment would unfold, how the revelation would trigger a flurry of emotions sharper than any knife. And then it happened. A scream sliced through the silence, ice-cold and haunting. It was Amanda. Her expression twisted into a mask of disbelief, her eyes wide as saucers, glistening with unshed tears. The clamor of voices fell away, as if the world reduced to just her reaction. It wasn't just surprise, it was terror, as if she had seen a ghost rise from the grave. "How could you?" she shrieked, her hands trembling, the very embodiment of heartbreak and fury. The stillness came crashing down, and one could almost feel the shivers crawl down their spine. The other family members exchanged startled glances, eyebrows raised, mouths agape, each one teetering on the edge of shock. What had been contained in those pages was no ordinary inheritance. The inexplicable urge to protect Amanda wrapped around me like a thick fog. I could feel the heat rising in my chest, a tightness rooted deep in my gut. Whispers surrounded us, hushed tones trickling through the room like winding streams. "This isn't how it's supposed to be. Did he really mean it?" And beyond our immediate circle, distant relatives peeked from the shadows, eyes wide with curiosity, each one of them silently judging, as if this moment was an unexpected spectacle to be consumed. And there I stood, witness to the fallout of my own father's choices, the echo of his last words hanging heavy between us. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Amanda's breath hitching as our family lawyer slid the will closer to her, a single tear tracing down her cheek. The room was a storm. Tension crackled like static electricity. "My father didn't care about me," she howled, the anguish raw and real, shaking us all to our core. The sunlight filtering through the window cast an eerie glow, illuminating the chaos unfolding in front of us. Thoughts raced wildly in my mind, questions swirling as I fought to comprehend what could have possessed him to do this. A glimmer of hope flickered within the chaos. I thought of the last family gathering, laughter ringing bright and clear like cherished music, where we were whole, full of love. But now, as the shadows danced with each flicker of grief reflected in her eyes, the room became an arena of heartbreak. I wondered, how did it come to this? What secrets lay buried beneath layers of affection and resentment? Each member of the family was trapped in their own emotional whirlpool, struggling against the undertow. And Amanda? She was at the epicenter, trembling, battling the haunting reality of a father's betrayal. The remnants of security lay shattered at our feet, replaced by a chilling ambiguity that gnawed at my insides. And as the silence threatened to suffocate us, it left behind an insatiable yearning. Who was Amanda really? Was she the daughter trying to cling to her love for a father who had betrayed her? Or was there something deeper lurking in the confines of her soul? As I looked into her haunted eyes, I couldn't help but think that this was only the beginning. Amanda's scream hung in the air. It felt heavy, like a weight that crushed our chests, forcing us to breathe shallowly. Everyone in the room leaned closer, drawn in by either concern or morbid curiosity. I could feel the stares boring into me, and a spark of anger flared inside. Wasn't I suffering too? This was my father as much as it was hers. Why would he do this? Amanda's voice trembled, slicing through the collective hush. Her hands balled into fists at her sides, and I could see the muscles in her jaw tense, as if she were about to explode. Was I ever really his daughter, or just a pawn in his sick game? Her words landed like icy daggers among us. Could we truly trust the man who brought us here? I glanced at the lawyer, Mr. Henderson, whose face remained stoic, yet I could sense the storm of scrutiny brewing within him. This was more than just paperwork, it was betrayal rendered in ink. "Let us just read it again," I suggested, my voice cracking slightly. Maybe I hesitated, struggling to offer any sense of hope. "Maybe it's not as bad as it looks?" Laughter bubbled from somewhere across the table, an inappropriate symphony of disbelief. Aunt Carol scoffed, "Oh please, not everyone can take a bullet for you, Nathan. It's time we face reality." For a moment, it felt as if the room would collapse in on itself, crushed under the weight of Carol's words. But Amanda wouldn't let it go. "Don't pretend this is normal," she shouted, every syllable ignited with heat. "We didn't deserve this." Shattered whispers echoed around us. They turned to one another in hushed tones, their glares darting like daggers, unsure of who to blame. The silence was suddenly punctured by Mr. Henderson clearing his throat, stepping forward with the will back in hand. "Perhaps we should focus on the contents of the document." He adjusted his glasses, the tension radiating off him, making the air quiver. "Then let us see it," Amanda yelled, and the desperation in her voice made it clear we were at a pivotal point. "I deserve to know what he left me." As Henderson began to read, the words blurred together, an unintelligible murmur drowned out by the pounding of my heart. The sentence that broke through was sharp, striking like a bolt of lightning. "To my daughter Amanda, I leave nothing except the burden of knowing why." A collective gasp echoed through the room, a visceral reaction. Amanda staggered back as if slapped. "What does that even mean?" she cried, losing the resolve that held her steady. Fear washed over me. What hidden secret lay behind those words? I felt the sudden urge to protect Amanda from the truth, whatever it might be. Yet a whisper within me questioned my own sanity. Did I truly want to expose everything hidden in the shadows? Before I could fully gather my thoughts, Amanda rushed to the door, her cheeks flushed with rage and fear. "I need air," she shouted, and before anyone could stop her, she was gone, leaving us in a tangled web of confusion. "They can't just take a knife and cut the strings," someone said, but the room was already too chaotic for anyone to grasp their own emotions. It felt as if we were drowning, and Amanda was the only one who knew how to swim. "Go after her," I shouted, urgency rising within me, but nobody moved. Their faces were painted in shock, and I could feel my heart race. "She needs us. We can't let her face this alone." I bolted from the room, desperation fueling my every step. Just as I reached the front door, I caught a glimpse of her figure disappearing down the path into the gathering twilight. There was something about that night, something foreboding and dark. What truth awaited her in the shadows? As the cool night air enveloped me, I could only chase after the fragments of a family that splintered in one horrific moment. And as I rushed into the unknown, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just about a will. No, there was something more sinister, waiting just out of reach. The night air wrapped around me like a cloak as I sprinted down the gravel path, my breath coming in sharp bursts. Each step felt heavier, as if the ground beneath me was unwilling to let go of the secrets buried within it. Amanda was out there, grappling with emotions that could swallow her whole. I could feel the panic rising, thick and suffocating. "Amanda!" I called out, my voice hoarse, echoing against the trees that loomed in the dark. Shadows danced in the distance, mocking my desperate plea, but I pressed on. I couldn't let her drown in whatever abyss her father had created. As I rounded a bend, my foot caught a root, sending me sprawling to the ground. Pain shot up my leg, but I ignored it, pushing myself back up with urgency. A few yards ahead, I spotted her. Amanda stood at the edge of a small clearing, her back turned to me. The wind whipped through her hair. She seemed small and vulnerable, a silhouette barely holding on to the jagged edges of her reality. I approached quietly, feeling the weight of my heart in my throat. "Amanda," I said softly, trying to infuse my voice with reassurance. "Please, we need to talk." She didn't move. I took another step closer, and suddenly she turned, her face a storm of raw emotions: rage, sadness, confusion. "Why did he do this?" she hissed, her voice breaking. What could possibly lead him to leave me nothing but a burden? Her hands trembled, and I could see tears glistening in her eyes. I hesitated, searching for words that would anchor her amidst this tempest. I wish I knew, Amanda. I really do. But whatever it is, you're not alone in this. We can figure it out together. For all I know, I'm not even his daughter, she spat, and the sharpness of her voice sent chills down my spine. What if he did this because he was ashamed? The thought twisted inside me a sneaky revelation that gnawed at my conscience. I had never thought about it that way, but for Amanda, the future felt like a shadow, long and stretching. Listen, I said, stepping even closer, staking my ground. Just because he left doesn't change who you are. You're more than whatever twisted legacy he has left behind. A cracked smile, as fleeting as it was, crossed her face. Easy for you to say, Nathan. You weren't the one thrown into the fire. I reached out, touching her arm lightly. But I'm right here. And whatever truth we uncover won't change how I feel for you or for us. Her eyes met mine, searching for something that could bring her back from the brink. Just when it felt like she might surrender to honesty, a sudden rustle in the nearby brush interrupted us. Did you hear that? She asked, her voice dropping to a whisper. I strained to listen, and my heart dropped as I caught the sound again, followed by a quiet crunch of leaves. Fear rippled through me, breath hitching in my throat. We were not alone. Amanda, we should go back, I urged, scanning the darkness encroaching around us. As I turned, a figure stepped out from behind a tree, shrouded in ominous shadow. The outline flickered in the dim light, and my heart raced. I took a step back, instinctively putting myself between Amanda and the threat. Who are you? I demanded, my voice firm, even as dread coiled in my stomach. But the figure only chuckled, a low, chilling sound that sent shivers down my spine. You're asking the wrong questions, Nathan. My mind raced, but I couldn't shake the feeling we were about to uncover something far worse than a will. What do you mean? I pressed, my heart pounding loud enough to drown out the surrounding silence. The figure stepped into the light, and my stomach dropped. This was someone I didn't recognize, and as the world around me faded into nothingness, one thought blazed to the forefront: what had we stumbled into? And just like that, the chilling realization hit me. This wasn't just about Amanda's inheritance. No, it was so much darker, and every second felt more grave than the last. The figure's features became clearer as the shadows fell away, revealing a face I recognized but never thought I'd see again, a face from my childhood, a specter of the past. It was Ethan, Amanda's father, alive and somehow more menacing than I remembered. What are you doing here? I shot back, struggling to keep the tremor out of my voice. Amanda, still standing behind me, gasped softly. I see you brought a friend, Ethan said, his voice smooth like silk, but underlined with a sharp edge. No matter. What matters is that you've both come to a crossroads. Isn't that right, Amanda? His eyes glinted with something dark, something I couldn't place. I could feel the energy shift, a tension that coiled tightly around our hearts. Amanda, don't listen to him. I warned, my voice catching in the thickening air. He left you. She stepped slightly to the side, her gaze switching between Ethan and me, torn between confusion and unresolved anger. Why did you come back? Her voice was a mixture of disbelief and something else, curiosity, maybe? Ethan laughed, and it was a sound that sent chills surging down my spine. Oh, I've been watching, sweetheart. All these years you thought I was gone, just another deadbeat father. But I had my reasons for disappearing. Reasons? You mean excuses, I spat, anger bubbling up. You abandoned her. You don't get to explain that away. He held up a finger, silencing me. Be careful how you speak to me, Nathan. You have no idea what you're getting yourself mixed up in. My heart raced. What is that supposed to mean? Ethan smiled, but it was a twisted grin that sent a wave of nausea through me. You think this is just about a will, about ownership? It's about legacy, a precious lineage that runs deeper and darker than either of you can guess. My mind raced. What was he implying? Amanda's face told me she was beginning to absorb a reality she wasn't prepared for. "What are you saying?" she murmured, her voice fragile, sensing the tension reaching a breaking point. Ethan leaned closer, eyes glinting with something sinister. "Your father was not just a man, Amanda, he was a gatekeeper. A place in a world that has never truly accepted you." My pulse quickened. I glanced at Amanda, whose expression shifted from confusion to fear. "What does that even mean?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I'm here to unlock the truth," he said, the darkness in his voice wrapping around us. "And you are going to listen. You owe it to yourself to know why you've been living in shadows." "Amanda, don't!" I shouted, desperation clawing at me. "We need to get out of here." But she was rooted in place, a storm of conflicting emotions playing across her face. Ethan stepped slightly closer, closing the distance between us. "You think running will save you? You can't escape your heritage. Embrace it." The tension hung heavy in the air. It felt like the stillness before an irrevocable storm. I could see Amanda wavering, uncertainty dancing in her eyes, and a part of me feared how far she might be willing to go to unravel the mystery. Then, the silence shattered as a loud crack echoed through the clearing. A branch snapped just beyond the trees, drawing our attention. The foreboding sense of being watched intensified. "What was that?" Amanda whispered, anxiety tightening her throat. Ethan's smirk didn't waver. "It seems we have company." I shot a quick glance around. "We have to leave, now." But as I turned to usher Amanda away, a chill spread through the air. The darkness seemed to pulse with the weight of unspoken threats. I knew we were being drawn into something much larger than just a family feud. "What are you running from?" Ethan taunted, his voice dripping with malice. "The past has a way of catching up." With each moment, the danger escalated, and I felt a knot twisting in my stomach. We were standing on the edge of a precipice, and the ground felt unsteady beneath us. "Amanda, please," I pleaded, grabbing her shoulder. "We need to go. Now." But would she turn her back on the truth? The shadows of our past were swallowing us whole, and I could only imagine what awaited in the darkness. As we turned to flee, the ominous presence of the figure beyond the trees loomed larger, and that snapping branch was only the beginning. The rustling in the underbrush drew closer, and my heart raced faster than my thoughts could form. I pushed Amanda behind me, shielding her as if I could physically block whatever horror might emerge. The tension thickened, a weight pressing down on us, turning the night air electric with dread. Ethan remained unfazed, his grin widening, revealing teeth that seemed too sharp, too predatory. "You can't protect her forever, Nathan. The truth is a powerful thing. It will find its way out, just like those shadows waiting to consume you." The snapping of twigs grew louder, more pronounced. I could almost feel the eyes in the darkness, watching, lurking. Had Ethan summoned something from the depths, or was it merely a trick of the mind? My instinct screamed at me to run, to escape whatever dark forces might be closing in. "Amanda," I whispered urgently, my grip tightening on her arm. "We need to go. Please." But she hesitated, her gaze fixed on her father, searching for clarity amidst the chaos. "What do you know about my past, really?" she demanded, her voice trembling yet fierce, as if eager to confront the ghosts that had haunted her for too long. Ethan's posture shifted. He straightened, arrogance dancing in his eyes. "I know everything about you, my dear. You were never just Amanda. You are part of something larger, a lineage bound by choice and consequence." "What are you saying?" she asked, her confusion morphing into defiance. "I'm just me. I'm not some legacy." But even as she spoke, the shadows gathered around us like dark waves about to crash. I felt the pull of the night, whispering secrets from the corner of my mind that I couldn't bear to fully acknowledge. This wasn't just about Ethan. This was about Amanda. It was about the choices she had yet to make. "I told you, you don't know what you're dealing with," Ethan said, his tone low and foreboding. "But that's about to change. Tonight, you'll learn what it means to be a gatekeeper." The responsibility, the power, the curse. Before I could respond, a rustle erupted at the tree line, and out staggered a figure cloaked in darkness. The thing before us was not human, it lurked, shifting in and out of reality like some grotesque dance. I gasped, recoiling. It had eyes like hollow sockets, and its mouth stretched impossibly wide, letting out a sound that lodged in my chest like a bullet. "Run!" I screamed. But Amanda was frozen, staring at the horrific creature as if transfixed. "What is that?" she gasped, her voice barely above a whisper. "It doesn't matter. We have to." Before I could finish, Ethan raised a hand, a gesture that froze the moment. "You can't escape this, Nathan. It's coming for you too." In that instant, the creature lunged, its jagged edges slicing through the air as it barreled toward us. My instincts kicked in. I yanked Amanda's arm, forcing her to snap out of her stupor. "Go. Now." We burst forward, running away from the looming terror, and from the twisted secrets clawing at Amanda's past. As we tore through the underbrush, I heard Ethan's voice ripple behind us, laughter brewing in the dark. "This is just the beginning. You can't run from what you are." With branches slapping against our faces, and the creature's frantic growls echoing through the night, I knew the chase had only just begun. Amanda had to confront her past, but the clock was ticking, and the shadows were closing in fast. What lay behind us was an omen, and ahead, a struggle for survival that twisted fate itself. But as we reached the edge of the clearing, a blinding light flickered through the trees, pulling us forward. What awaited us beyond that light was an even darker truth, one neither of us could foresee. What did the light reveal, and could it save us, or was it just another trap waiting to ensnare us both? The moment Amanda and I crossed into the light, the world around us shifted. The pulsating glow swallowed the darkness, revealing a strange sanctuary that stood in stark contrast to the terror that had just pursued us. The air was thick with a warm, almost nostalgic scent, like aged wood and incense, mingling alongside anxiety that buzzed beneath the surface. We stumbled forward, panting and wide-eyed, absorbing the sight before us. An ancient stone altar dominated the center of the clearing, intricately carved with symbols that seemed to writhe and shift as if alive. Wisps of ethereal mist curled around it, dancing in the light. The atmosphere hummed with energy, tinged with a sense of age and justice that sent chills racing up my spine. "What is this place?" Amanda whispered, taking a step closer, drawn to the altar like a moth to a flame. It looks like a ritual site," I stammered, instinctively reaching for her arm to pull her back. "We shouldn't," but Amanda shook me off, her eyes ablaze with curiosity and an unsettling determination. "I've spent my life running from answers, Nathan. I can't do that anymore." As if in response to her declaration, the symbols on the altar flared, lighting up in vibrant colors. The warmth spread through the clearing, encasing us in a cocoon of light. It felt safe, yet I knew instinctively that this sanctuary held its own dangers. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the air, reverberating off the tree trunks. I felt the ground shake beneath our feet, and then, out of the light, a figure began to take shape. A woman, ethereal and otherworldly, with eyes that sparkled like starlight. She emanated an aura of authority, but also of sorrow. "You stand at the crossroads, Amanda," the woman said, her voice melodic yet steeped in weighty emotion. "The lineage flows through your veins. The time to embrace your legacy is upon you." "What legacy?" Amanda spat, her fight flickering beneath the surface. "You don't understand what I'm facing." "Oh, but I do," the woman replied, her gaze steady and piercing. "The shadows that haunt you are not just a figment of fear, they are a part of your birthright. Embrace it, and the power within you can vanquish the darkness outside." I felt the ground tilt beneath me. It was one thing to know Amanda was connected to something ancient, but this was beyond anything I had imagined. "No. We don't need any of this," I shouted, desperation driving my tone. "We need to leave. Now." "Listen to him," the woman said softly, her expression flickering with regret. "But to run is to deny your destiny. The creature you faced is a manifestation of the turmoil within you. Only by accepting who you are can you overcome it." Amanda's face contorted with conflict, torn between fear and an undeniable urge to understand. Maybe I can face it, maybe I need to. Before I could reach out, before I could stop her, Amanda stepped closer to the altar. As she inhaled, the light brightened, swirling in vibrant patterns around her. I felt my heart racing, battling against the looming dread that threatened to consume us both. A piercing scream erupted from behind us, slicing through the air, a reminder of the horror waiting just beyond the light. My body froze, every instinct screaming to protect her, to pull her back. "Amanda, no!" I shouted, but her determination had solidified into a shield. The woman's voice resonated, strong yet soft. "Now is your hour, Amanda. Claim your power." The shadows rippled again, swirling in outrage, and I knew the creature was close. Was Amanda truly ready to face her past, to wield the legacy trapped within her? As the first dark tendril crept into the light, I realized we had crossed a point of no return. Whatever choice she made could shatter everything we held dear. The moment had arrived. Would she embrace her legacy, or would the darkness win? I could only watch, terrified, as Amanda turned to confront her fate. The air crackled with tension as Amanda stood before the glowing altar, her form framed by the brilliant light. I was transfixed, watching her face shift through an array of emotions: fear, determination, hope. The surrounding shadows grew restless, swirling angrily like a storm brewing just outside a window. "Amanda!" I yelled, desperation coating my voice. "Don't you see what this could lead to? Don't let it pull you in." But she didn't turn back. Instead, Amanda raised her arms, almost as if she was welcoming the radiant light. "Maybe I was meant for this," she shouted, her voice echoing through the clearing. The spirit before us, the one with starlit eyes, seemed to smile, a fragile, bittersweet expression that tugged at my heart. "Your strength lies not in resistance, but in acceptance," she said, her tone laced with expectancy. "Long have you wandered, Amanda. Embrace your true self." Suddenly, the ground shook again, the low rumble escalating to a tremor that sent vibrations through my bones. It was like an earthquake drawing nearer. I could almost feel the darkness wailing, its anguish palpable as it clawed at the light, and just then, the shadows lunged. A creature emerged from the depths, a slick mass of darkness with icy tendrils reaching out toward us. Its inhuman screech pierced through the air, a sound that rattled my very core. "No! Stay back!" I shouted, my mind racing. "Amanda, please!" But she stood firm, her eyes locked on the creature, her resolve cementing into a fierce glare. "This is my fight, Nathan. I have to do this." The creature writhed in response to her defiance, its form shifting violently as it lunged. I could feel an overwhelming wave of dread wash over me. I was paralyzed, my feet rooted to the earth. The shadows were relentless, snaking closer, threatening to engulf us whole. Then Amanda took a step forward, her body radiating a fierce glow. With a voice that trembled yet resonated with authority, she cried out, "You do not control me." The altar exploded into a band of blinding light, amplifying the aura around her. It gathered around Amanda like swirling armor, an ethereal shield against the shadows. I stood breathless, witnessing the transformation happening right before my eyes. It was incredible yet terrifying. I wanted to rush forward, to protect her, but the very air crackled, an invisible barrier pushing me back. "Hold on!" I shouted, panic flooding my veins. "You can't do this alone." The darkness recoiled, screeching in agony as Amanda's power surged. The ground trembled like an angry beast, and I could see the fear twisting in her features. Could she really carry this burden? A chill spread through the air as Amanda focused her gaze on the darkness, channeling the energy flowing from the altar. "I won't let you take me," she yelled, her voice echoing with newfound strength. The shadows seemed to hesitate, the tendrils faltering for a moment, as if recognizing her resolve. In that heartbeat, a spark of hope ignited within me. But would it be enough? The creature shrieked again, its anger surging with a newfound frenzy. It lunged forward, snapping against the barrier around Amanda, shattering the moment of peace like glass. "Amanda!" I screamed, my throat raw, my heart pounding. As chaos erupted around us, I realized just how high the stakes were. Amanda was standing at the precipice. If she faltered now, we could both be lost in this darkness eternally. Would she hold firm against the rising tide, or would the shadows drag her into despair? The answer to that question loomed as the darkness swirled around her like a ravenous beast, hungry for remnants of hope. My heart raced, and as the final standoff approached, I held my breath, praying for her strength. But a new revelation awaited in the chaotic dance. What if the true darkness wasn't the creature pursuing us but something deeper within Amanda herself? The light pulsed around Amanda, more radiant than a midday sun, but the shadows seemed unfazed. They writhed and twisted, their sinister forms impossibly sleek and alive, as if fueled by a collective malice. I felt the hairs on my neck rise, a deep instinct screaming that this was just the beginning of a nightmare. Amanda! I shouted again, but it felt futile, swallowed by the ever-looming darkness. The creature lunged, its icy tendrils slashing through the air toward her, and I felt the weight of the world upon my chest, every heartbeat echoing doubt, but Amanda stood resolute, her voice steady despite the treacherous chaos. "I won't let you destroy me," she declared, fierce as a tempest. As if to affirm her commitment, the light shield around her brightened, sending a shockwave that pushed back the darkness momentarily. I watched in awe, jealousy, and admiration mixing within me, yet even through the light, I could see the darkness shifting, adapting, growing bolder. "Amanda, it's coming back." My voice cut through the thickening air, filled with desperation. "You have to find a way to break free." The shadows retaliated with a thunderous roar, and I swear the ground felt alive, convulsing underneath me. It was a battle of wills, pitting stark light against unyielding darkness. Amanda, with her arms spread wide, became the fulcrum of this clash, an epicenter I feared might break. The spirit with starlit eyes, hovering just beyond the altar's brilliance, watched silently. Her expression shifted subtly, a flicker of concern that sliced through my own panic. "You must dig deep, Amanda. There's more within you than even you realize." In that moment, I caught a glimmer of something fear-twisting Amanda's features, shaping her resolve. It shook me to the core. Was she holding back something vital? Was the potential for darkness lurking within her? The beast lunged again, its scream a cacophony that shook my bones, more desperate than before. It struck at Amanda's barrier, the impact creating ripples in the air. Every tremor matched the roiling turmoil in my heart. Would she be able to harness all that power? Could she overcome whatever inner doubt threatened her? With a sudden sweep of her arms, Amanda pulled in the energy of the altar, drawing it to her like a moth to an unyielding flame. The light enveloped her completely, obscuring everything else. It was breathtaking, powerful, yet I feared it could overwhelm her. "Amanda!" I called out again, this time nearly choking on my own anxiety. "You have to believe in yourself." For a moment, there was silence, a moment so profound that my heart skipped. The creature hesitated again, as if sensing the inner struggle raging within Amanda. I could see her grappling with it, a war playing out behind her eyes. Then it happened. Amanda's glow pulsed, a heartbeat of light bursting forth. "I choose to confront my darkness," she announced, voice echoing through the clearing. I held my breath, gripping the edges of the altar as if it could ground me. But what if the choice she made would tip the scale not towards victory, but into something darker than even the shadows? The atmosphere shifted again, a chill creeping into my bones as Amanda's power aligned with the shadows in a cataclysmic array of light and dark. I felt a fissure open in my gut, the anticipation of something inevitable and horrifying. "Can you feel that?" I whispered to myself, aware that the air itself had begun to thrum. What had she unleashed? The balance teetered dangerously on a knife point, and as the pulse surged between them, I could only wonder if she had truly embraced her darkness or if it had consumed her entirely. "Amanda, please," I murmured, almost defeated, just as the ground beneath us began to crack, splitting the world I knew. And just like that, the battlefield shifted from one of light to a twisted dance with darkness as her inner turmoil exploded outward. The shadows roared, and I braced myself for what would come next. Had she truly stepped into a realm beyond our comprehension? The moment Amanda declared her intent, I felt the ground tremble more violently. The echoes of her words reverberated through the air, and an overwhelming surge of power rippled outwards. I could see shadows twisting and contorting, morphing into grotesque figures that loomed closer, hungry for the light. "Amanda! Hold strong!" I shouted, my voice just one more fragment caught in the tumult. My breath came in short gasps. The world felt like it was fracturing, a mirror cracking under a deft hand, showing glimpses of something raw and savage. Suddenly, the spirit with starlit eyes spoke up, her melodious voice cutting through the chaos. "You have a choice, Amanda. Don't let the darkness take your heart." Her face anointed with worry, a stark contrast to the otherwise chaotic scene. But Amanda's brilliance was blinding. The sphere of light tightened around her, and I couldn't help but feel both hope and dread at the same time. As brilliant as her power appeared, it was like a storm contained by a fragile glass dome. Would it shatter? Would she be consumed by the shadows she sought to conquer? The beast lunged again, and this time, it seemed to understand her struggles. Dark energy coiled around its form, each tendril eager to wrap around Amanda, searching, probing, seeking her weakness. "Amanda!" I urged, feeling my heart pound against my ribcage like it was a prisoner. "Fight it. Don't give in." I could see a flicker of doubt cross her radiant face. For a heartbeat, her light dimmed, and for the first time, fear overtook her resolve. She was teetering on the edge. Could the darkness within her be stronger than the light she wielded? The shadows morphed, coiling together and forming a massive serpent, its eyes glimmering like shards of obsidian. "You're one of us," it hissed, a voice like lips brushed against grating stone. "Embrace it, Amanda." My stomach twisted as I watched her reaction. The glimmer from her light blazed fiercely, but shadows were whispering promises of power, a power only she could unlock. Her breathing was shallow, and I could almost sense the temptation settling in her heart. With a sudden fury, the serpent lunged forward, attempting to breach her light. I gasped, desperate to close the distance and help her. "You're strong, Amanda. You can't let this happen." Then it happened. Just as I thought she might break, Amanda's cry ricocheted through the clearing. "No. You will not claim me." The intensity of her light blazed brighter, an explosive eruption that surged outwards like the sun dispelling the night. A wave of warmth swept through me, a brief flicker of hope amidst the dark. But the shadows recoiled, no longer the mere wraiths of despair. Now they were angry, lashing out with greater force as they fought to maintain their hold. Just then, I felt something change in the atmosphere. A shift, a resonance of something dark awakening deep within Amanda. It sent tremors of uncertainty through me. What if her embrace of this darker power was fatal? What if that whispering voice held more truth than we realized? As the very ground beneath us began to convulse violently, I could hear the fragments of the world cracking around us, each crack a reminder of our dwindling time. The air crackled with electricity, and I knew we were approaching a point of no return. "Amanda, fight!" I screamed, trying to penetrate the chaos that enveloped her. But doubt crept into my heart like an invasive weed, slowly choking the life out of my hope. And then I saw the darkness before her wavering with something sinister, a hunger that could only be quenched by despair. Just as I thought they would overpower her, Amanda stepped to the edge of her light, arms stretched wide as if inviting the shadows in. No longer could I deny the terrifying truth. Was she truly ready to explore the depths of her own darkness? Had she found an unsettling acceptance, flirting dangerously with a ravaging power that could consume her entirely? The cracks beneath us widened further, and the symphony of chaos crescendoed. A storm was brewing, both from within Amanda and above us, and I held my breath, wondering which way the winds would ultimately blow. But before I could process the enormity of it all, a voice echoed around us, clear as day. And with a shattering finality, it said, "Welcome to your true awakening." I felt ice coursing through my veins. What had she just unleashed? Amanda stood at the edge of the altar, her determination forged like steel, but doubt flickered, swirling like a dark cloud around her. The shadows writhed, each tendril coiling tighter, trying to invade her light. I felt my heart pounding in alarm that screamed of danger. "Fight it, Amanda!" I shouted again, desperation creeping into my voice. The forces at play were far larger than us, they were wrapped in a legacy that had been hidden beneath layers of grief and betrayal. "Amanda," the spirit with the starlit eyes pleaded. "You must choose." That was it. She had to choose. The shadow screeched, an angry chorus of despair echoing through the clearing. They lunged at her, eager to snuff out that shining glow. I stepped forward instinctively, my entire being crying out for her. "Don't let them take your heart." But as Ethan watched, lurking in the shadow of uncertainty, there came a moment, a single heartbeat, where I sensed Amanda teetering on the edge of an abyss. She glanced back, her fears exposing the vulnerable cracks in her facade. "What if I'm not strong enough, Nathan? What if I can't face what I truly am?" Anguish piled within me. "You're not alone. You've got the strength to conquer this. Embrace your light, not just for you but for all of us." In an instant, the atmosphere shifted. Amanda inhaled, the glow around her pulsating, fighting against the tangled darkness. "You do not define me," she yelled, anchoring herself in that moment, a fierce defiance ringing true. The light intensified, forcing the shadows to pull back in agony. The air was thick with energy. Each heartbeat echoed louder, resonating through the clearing. I could almost see the scales tipping, the shadows gnawing at the edges of her resolve. But then, it happened. With a fierce cry, she pulled her power, gathering the warmth from the altar, and a beam erupted around her, bright, blinding, almost regal, but the creature was relentless, snapping and howling, trying to break through. The shadows converged, seeking the tiniest crack in her armor. "Amanda!" I yelled, but the luminescent barrier held for a moment, flickering against the tides of darkness that clawed relentlessly at her determination. Then she did it. In a surge of raw courage, she stepped firmly into the light. "This is my choice," Amanda proclaimed, and the luminescence expanded, enveloping us both in a cocoon that felt like home. It was overwhelming. It was isolation tearing apart nerves, but also exhilarating, her strength reaching a crescendo. I watched in awe as the shadows recoiled, shrieking as if they were physically burning. "Embrace it all," the spirit encouraged. "Your lineage is not your prison, it is your power." The moment hung a silence so thick I could feel it wrapping around us, vibrating with anticipation. The darkness, sensing its defeat, shifted again. "You are weak, Amanda. You think you can control this?" The words slithered like poison, but I heard a crack echo the strain at its seams, the shadows losing their grip. But then, as if sensing victory slipping away, the creature lunged once more, desperate, furious. I felt adrenaline surging and made to step, ready to shield her from whatever horror lurked. The tension exploded. "No!" I shouted, but before I could react, Amanda's light flared brighter, a magnificent shield piercing through the chaos. "Enough!" she roared, filled with vehement resolve. "I am not afraid." A wave of luminance swept forth, and with it, the final call to her truth erupted like a thunderstorm. The shadows screamed in unison as the edges of their dark forms began to disintegrate, unraveling into swirling dust as the light surged forward. With one final push, Amanda raised her arms, channeling everything she was. She closed her eyes, letting go of the pain that chained her to her past. The culmination came in an explosion, a brilliant flash that lit up the entire clearing like noon on the 4th of July. I shielded my eyes, heart racing, as the shadows were consumed by the very essence they sought to extinguish, and then silence. The remnants of darkness dissolved into the night, absent of presence, vaporized into nothingness. I opened my eyes slowly, and the world had transformed. The altar, once a site of betrayal and fear, now felt sacred, a testament to strength, change, and facing one's truth. Amanda stood at the center, radiant, illuminated by that victorious glow, her eyes fierce yet soft, unguarded. She held the power of her lineage, not as a burden, but as a legacy, a bridge to who she truly was, a woman defined not by shadows but by the strength they could not contain. I gazed at her with a blend of admiration and relief washing over me. "You did it," I breathed, stepping closer. "You faced it all." "I did," she said softly, her voice steady. "I can't change what happened, but I can control what I become from it." And in that moment, the stories of our lives intertwined. No longer just a legacy of heartache, but a new chapter filled with light, possibility, and resilience. Hand in hand, we stepped forward out of the clearing, leaving behind a past that could no longer haunt us. As we walked back into the embrace of the night, I felt a flicker of warmth, a brand new dawn waiting to rise, a life worth living just beyond the horizon. But now, the call to you: this moment matters. Don't let it slip through your fingers. Subscribe immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will ignite your spirit. Smash that like button now to fuel the algorithm and keep our community thriving. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about Amanda's victory and this wild adventure, and don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness the power of facing one's truth. Your support means the world. Stand with us as we continue this journey together.